Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 12 of our F1 2011 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend back at the circuit de Spa Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix, of course. If you missed out on the last video, go back, check it out. It was an absolute cracker. I don't want to give any spoilers too early into this one today, but it was hopefully a bit of a turning point for us in F1 2011. Of course, it's safe to say, so far this career mode, it has been brutal, I think is probably the best way to describe it. Picking the Team Lotus car was probably the best of the backmarker choices, but I wildly underestimated just how uncompetitive this car was going to be with other midfield machinery. Despite that though, with a good start and a lot of defensive driving, we were finally able to pick up our first points of the year last weekend. With a 9th place finish at the Hungary ring, it means we jump up to P14 in the World Championship. Up at the top of the order, Fernando Alonso, 29 points still clear of Sebastian Vettel, as Lewis Hamilton and Mark Webber have each had a race victory over the last couple of race weekends. Could they still spring a surprise as this season goes on? Only time will tell. Jenson Button just ahead of Felipe Massa, and then it's both Mercedes, both of the Lotus Renault cars, and then both Saubers, Jaime Alguersuari, myself, and then Sebastian Buemi there. Constructors-wise, Red Bull 1 point ahead of Ferrari after last weekend. Vodafone McLaren less than 50 points back as well, so down but certainly not out. But yeah, of course, with that result again, we jump Force India, we jump Williams. Like I said, that is huge. That was my big goal for this first season of F1 2011. Now, really, if A, we can score some more points, absolutely fantastic. B, let's try and get ourselves a better drive further up the grid. Now, apparently there can be mid-season driver transfers inside this game. I don't quite know where they occur, because we have not had that opportunity yet. To try and swap teams inside this game. However, we do have an important email as we head into this weekend. First of all, Tony Fernandez wants us to try and finish 18th in qualifying and 16th in the Grand Prix. That is going to be quite difficult. Second of all, though, he has offered us a new contract ready for Season 2. So, if we really get desperate, we could stay with Team Lotus ready for the next campaign. I'll be honest, though, between you and me, don't tell Tony Fernandez this. I'm really hoping we get a better opportunity. Leave a like though, get yourself subscribed if you do go on to enjoy. We're trying to hit 4K subs on the channel, but let's return here to Spa. Returning then after Formula 1 summer break here to sunny Spa Francorchamps. Although again, it is looking like we could see some changeable conditions over the course of this weekend. We had wet running throughout Friday afternoon, so unfortunately, it did say it was meant to rain throughout qualifying as well. But it looks like that'll happen in either Q2 or Q3, so yeah, with that target now of P18 in qualifying, I think, well, we're basically just hoping for somebody to do something cataclysmically stupid, aren't we? Over 1 lap pace, but generally, as Jerome D'Ambrosio again doesn't know how to get lapped, generally speaking, I think the AI tend to be a bit better at some of the low downforce circuits. It's kind of the reverse of what we get on most of the modern F1 games. Top speed in excess of 200 miles an hour as we head up the Kemmel Straight, so yeah, I'm probably going to ignore what the team's hoping for here, and as always, just aim for target 19 first. Trying to attack the curves as best as we possibly can. A lot of big curves, actually, on this version of Spa. Made a little mistake going through Puon yesterday in practice. Bobbled over the outside curb, and it's basically like a curb you get on your local high street. It just throws the car skyward. So going to be very careful of that one around this circuit. Is just not quite able to hang it completely flat out as we head back up the hill in towards the final sector. Will Blanchimont be flat out with DRS open? I think that's going to be quite tricky to come by. Oh, we had to lift out the throttle slightly, but we did keep the DRS wide open, so probably worth just closing the DRS and obviously just attacking it with a little bit more speed, but making our way through the final couple of corners. Then first lap on the board, going to be a 49.9. Well, apparently then, my first qualifying lap was quicker than anything Sebastian Buemi's been able to do. So maybe, yeah, with one upgrade on this car, maybe this Lotus is actually now beginning to come alive a little bit more. So again, just careful of that curbing through Puon. Down the hill we go. It's kind of a little bit weird, obviously. We don't quite get all of the straight line modes in F1 26 that they ran here at the real-life Belgian Grand Prix, but with unlimited DRS still, it does almost feel, obviously, like you're getting access to that as well as 6 tenths up. Or as we make our way out onto the final sector once again, I reckon a mid to high 48 is probably going to be ascertainable for us. It's almost 200 miles an hour as we head in towards Blanchimont. Again, just close the DRS that time around. Activated again to carry the speed off of the corner, but keep a bit of stability. Adrian Sutil does a 46.3 as someone has apparently binned it. Maybe going up through a rouge there, so I'm not too sure what happened. We do a 49.3. Oh, there we go. So Buemi, we're not quicker than him. He just hasn't done a real lap. Well, rather more impressively than any of that then, Jerome D'Ambrosio. He's done some brilliant qualifying laps so far this year. It looks like he's done another one then at the moment. Going quicker than us at the moment then here in practice. Here in qualifying. So we've got to try and find a little bit more. There we are then, come the end of qualifying. No other improvements able to be found there. Mark Webber fastest on the board, ahead of Fernando Alonso, and then both McLaren cars. So once again, Sebastian Vettel seemingly struggling over one lap. I want to know what they put on Jerome D'Ambrosio's cornflakes this morning. 8 tenths quicker than us. We were another 8 tenths quicker than all the other back markers, so just a crazy lap from the Belgian at home. Clearly loves this track a whole lot, and who would be a fool to blame him? It's a great circuit here at Spa, but yeah, first time in quite a while. I think we haven't qualified 19th place, so maybe D'Ambrosio is going to give us a good fight as we head into the race.
After your points finish last race, let's keep the momentum going.
Well, I'm not sure about that then, engineer, but we'll wait and see what we can do. 5 red lights are on, and the Belgian Grand Prix is go then, off to a rather wheel-spinny getaway as we try and get the power down on the run in towards turn 1. Mark Webber, though, after the victory last weekend, clearly inspired there as little Timo Glock bullying everybody through that first corner as well. Glock up immediately, into P17. Jerome D'Ambrosio getting bullied a lot. What as we head down the hill as what is Carter Kane doing? It's a rouge. It's not a chicane or something like that at Monza next weekend. Somehow we don't pick up any front wing damage from that one. And as we make our way out into the Kemmel Straight then, trying to get a big old slipstream from the other Van Marussia car there. To the inside, we'll have a look in towards the chicane. And, Glock just about able to hook it up around the outside there. So, yeah, the AI do seem to be incredibly racy then. Here at Spa, all the way around the outside of Timo down the hill. No, again, he's actually going to defend that one. And Adrian Sutil says thank you very much. We'll dive down the inside. Not going to give up on that one. Without a fight, though. So, yeah, who knew Belgium was going to be the track with the AI? Really tried to deliver on F1 2011. There's heavy fuel in the car. A little bit of oversteer as we try and tip it down in through Pouhon, but especially with our targets being increased once again, we do still gain reputation if we don't meet them. It's just not much, so I don't know how much that might stunt progress as we head into Season 2 of this series, but at the moment, Timo Glock able to scamper away from me, so I have to maybe have a look about what's going to happen with fuel and things like that. But we could be in trouble here. We might have to really push just to get the bare minimum. No idea where Timo Glock's heading back up towards turn 1, just defending from himself by the looks of things. And, well, there we go. We will complete the move then around the outside through that first corner. So back up into 18th place then, ahead of all of the other back markers. And poor old Adrian Sutil that might get stuck with us this afternoon. You guys were telling me, though, in the comments of the last couple of videos, Force India can randomly score points somewhere occasionally on this game. So just trying to be a little bit careful of them still, keeping an eye out on both Sutil and Paul di Resta. But let's just settle into our rhythm. Sutil then has found his way back around Timo Glock early on in the day. But I mean, we're not losing much ground again to Paul di Resta and Rubens Barrichello just in front of us. Of course, Formula One's most experienced drivers going up against its least experienced driver early on in the day. And it's Barrichello even that comes out on top this time round. A little bit, yeah, just trying to kind of work out. It's always difficult to know whether I just suck at a circuit or, again, just AI inconsistency. Here we go. Sutil thinks about it. Down through Puon. And again, I got lucky over the curb that time. Usually take the AI a couple of laps to get fully up to speed on this game. Again, Adrian Suttil there just gets a bit of a wobble through the final corner. You see him close in rapidly and then lose bags of time again as we try and get the power down. But yeah, we're setting consistent 151s. Whoever's leading, though, I think it is still Mark Webber. It's absolutely scampered away up at the front of the order, so clearly that victory just before F1 summer break has given him motivation. Imagine if after all of this hype between Alonso and Vettel in the first half of the campaign, it ends up being Webber that wins the title. That would be huge. I don't know what it is, but in towards Fanyas, unless you brake super early, it's almost like there's some dust or some dirt down on the road, because it feels like every time, I say, unless you brake really early on the way in, the car just understeers through. It's probably the place we're most vulnerable on this lap, up against Adrian Suttil. Team want us to dive into the pit lane. Again, as always, I'm going to try and see if we can go a little bit longer here. Belgium shouldn't be that bad on tyres, so one stop should be doable. Plus, of course, let's not forget, you know, if there's a chance to score another point, it gets very quickly addictive, scoring points in backmarker machinery there. So Suttil, I believe, is going to peel into the pit lane. Don't think we're quite going to move up into the top 10 yet, but we're going to be fairly close. No, we're not. We're going to be down in P15 still, so yeah, there's definitely no chance of that. Yep, so more drivers going to be peeling in again pretty soon. I think if we can get these tyres, ideally end of lap 8, we should be good. So I'm just trying to work out again whether we'll get laps today or not. Oh, no, there you go. It's time to pit. It's time to pit. Oh, no. I don't know what happened there. I had no idea what happened as we tried to get into the pit lane, but just that moment of oversteer through the final couple of corners, and that made it abundantly clear to me now was the time to make the call then. So hopefully the team are going to be putting us on the primes. Yes, they are. If we can get them to the end, absolutely fantastic. If we can't, I'm not going to worry about it, as Jarno Trulli also peels into the pit lane. Oh, there you go. So Suttil has undercut me, despite the fact you guys were saying that the overcut is actually very powerful on this game. Goodbye, Adrian Suttil. And we'll wait and see if we see, well, anybody else there, as cold tyres and Rouge are not a good combo. Well, I don't know how well it will get picked up on the video, but there seems to be a really odd sound coming from the car now. Ever since I hit that pit wall, if I get up to a pretty high speed, yeah, just always hear like a rattling, like the game thinks we've got a puncture, but obviously also knows that we don't. There we go, a Rouge flat out again. Listen in. Sounds like something's scraping on the rear left tyre, which of course was the one that we hit on that wall. So yeah, I think it is just a bit of an audio glitch inside the game. But we're pulling away from Timo Glock just a little bit more. We seem to be a missile in a straight line and then lose loads of time in the middle sector. But as we cross half distance then this afternoon, this race is very much becoming a bit of a Mat 2 and 2 special of, well, 10 seconds behind Suttil in front, 6 seconds ahead of Timo Glock behind, and driving into no man's land. I would be really intrigued though. Now I've kind of know how the upgrade system works on this game. What could we do if we were actually bringing a lot of upgrades to this car? We're already not losing anywhere near as much ground as I would expect against the Force Indias and the Williams this season. You know, had we been bringing little upgrades here and there, piece by piece, every single weekend, could we now seriously be, you know, competitive with those teams? Could we be in a position... Yeah, I think a lot of people forget this. Team Lotus in 2011 were comfortably better than the other backmarkers, and often actually were closer to the likes of Williams and co than the other backmarkers were to them. There were a few occasions where they were legitimately not one of the slowest 3 teams anymore, had the speed over, say, a Williams or a Toro Rosso. So it's kind of a bit of a shame. It was what I was hoping for in this game, but clearly just never quite materialised. You know, they had quite a lot of Renault and Red Bull parts for 2011, so this car genuinely had some quite competitive DNA in it. Just not on F1 2011. Well, there we go. A couple more cars peeling back into the pit lane, so we will get back ahead of Adrian Suttil temporarily in this Grand Prix. Not going to try and aim for the one stop here, to be honest. We need to get lapped now. Looking at the fuel, I'm hoping Mark Webber's going to have the speed to lap us come the end of the afternoon. He is absolutely dominating this race. But of course, yeah, if it does mean that, you know, the other backmarker cars are close to getting lapped, I might have to drop off the pace towards the end. Or, on the other hand, if they all get lapped, if we stay on the lead lap, cross the line, and just then retire, I guess we still technically beat them all. Gonna dive into the pit lane then at the end of this lap, just kind of getting an idea of the scenario we've got between now and the end of the Grand Prix. Webber, I mean, he is absolutely in control of this Grand Prix. So we're just going to keep selecting the option tyre. Let's see if we can keep it a bit tidier into the pit lane this time round. There's another big drift on the way in. Careful of the wall on the outside. Luckily, the front wing on this car, I'm pretty certain made of lead or something pretty sturdy. But yeah, heading back then into the pit lane, hopefully for the final time today. Narain Kartikeyan is up to P20, so he's clearly having a pretty good day out. But yeah, fresh set of the option tyre going on. Oh, I don't think Kartikeyan had pit yet. That might explain why he was a little bit further up the order, but we've basically got a Sectors 3 margin over Mark Webber here. Maybe I'm going to have to throw the car in lean and pray for the best. What's happened to Paul di Resta? Paul di Resta seems to have run into trouble then in this Grand Prix. Yeah, I think Paul di Resta's out. So we've actually got an AI retirement on this game. Paul di Resta, first one out of this Grand Prix. And a bit of a shame for us that Target 18 set by the game is no longer kind of the goal, because, well, we might actually achieve it today. We might be in real trouble then. 3 laps to go of this Grand Prix. I'm leaving the car in lean revs everywhere. Somehow we still seem to be setting personal bests around the track. Not quite sure how that works. Luckily, Timo Glock isn't taking much time out of us either, so if we can get the fuel back, I think we should be pretty safe from him. But yeah, just have not had the mileage today, annoyingly, and Mark Webber just, I mean, I don't blame him for trying to play it safe towards the end. 2 race victories in a row would give him a whole host of momentum as we head to Monza next time out. But he is just not pushing in the way I need him to. Oh, there we go. Fuel's back to optimal. Wonderful. So I'm going to keep leaving it on lean just to try and get a little bit more back. But that eliminates one worry. Well, after the chaos and just drama that was the Hungarian Grand Prix last weekend, I was kind of expecting we get the opposite of that today here at Belgium. Just kind of the way Formula 1 works sometimes, isn't it? You kind of get that big extravagant moment, and then the next couple of races are often a little bit more quiet. But once again, though, we've got the job done today, considering that this does clearly seem to be one of the AI's best circuits. Jerome D'Ambrosio put 7 tenths on me in qualifying. That was something I wasn't planning on saying over the course of this campaign, but yeah, Timo Glock now 11.5 seconds back. I'll put the car back up in the standard revs. Mark Webber, though, 2nd race victory in a row, and in dominant style here at Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. Like I said, is there a possibility that he could still be a world title threat coming into this season? With that result, he's definitely going to move back up into P3 of the championship. I'm hoping to try and get a 1:49 lap time out of the car on this final tour, but once again, not getting lapped here. Although Spa is the longest track on the calendar, so it was always going to be less likely. Let's hope we don't dip to -1 lap of fuel again, or as we make our way in towards the final few corners. Yeah, there we go. Happy with today's race. 25 seconds back from Suttle in the end. I would be intrigued to know what happened to Paul di Resta. Jerome D'Ambrosio? 18th? How am I 19th again? Is that some kind of glitch? Has Jerome D'Ambrosio literally stolen that away from me with a strange bug at the end of the race? We were 18th all day long, and now Jerome D'Ambrosio's stolen it, just like the AI used to back on F1 2010. Luckily there, the game did figure out what it had done, and yeah, I think it was because Jerome D'Ambrosio was a lap down, it assumed he was... No, I don't know what the game's done there. Jerome D'Ambrosio, 9.6 seconds back. Paul di Resta, I feel like went out with more than 4 laps to go as well, but I could be wrong on that one. Either way, a little bit of confusion right at the end, but unlike F1 2010, it doesn't just immediately assume that D'Ambrosio finished 9 seconds off the victory, because that would have left him P2 today. Mark Webber victorious, though, leading home a Red Bull 1-2. Lewis Hamilton just had a Jenson Button, with Felipe Massa down in P7, behind both Fernando Alonso and Vitaly Petrov. Schumacher, Rosberg, Kobayashi, all inside the top 10, so no major surprises in the points scorers as well this time out. Drivers' World Championship-wise, of course, still in P14, but up at the top, Alonso's gap slashed to just 21 points. Mark Webber now less than 40 away from the top of the championship fight as well, so Hamilton as well not a million miles out. We could still see a 4-car battle for this world title as the season rages on. Button 7 points ahead of Massa. Michael Schumacher 1 point back ahead of his teammate as well in the Mercedes duel. And yeah, no other movers a bit further down the order. Constructors-wise, though, I believe that's obviously going to mean, yeah, Red Bull opening up that gap against Ferrari. So 28 clear of Ferrari. McLaren now only 37 back from the Italian squad as well. But how long can we hang on to P8 in the Constructors' standings? Only time will tell. Like I said, bit of a calmer race today, but I'm not going to complain about that. We got the job done. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns to the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix.